What is going on, Minnesota Viking fans? Welcome to the Purple People podcast. Forget what Jim Carrey movie it is, but sorry I'm late. I'm here. Technical difficulties. My computer decided to take a big fat poo, but we're here. It is Monday, August 19th, and we're here to talk about preseason week 2 at Cleveland. Guys, a lot has happened since the last time we recorded.
That is what Adam and I were talking about. We have so much news. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. We're going to talk about why Brian Flores is a big old meanie and they just don't like him down there in Miami. We're going to talk about Lewis Seen having a career performance, which doesn't take much, admittedly, but he had one in preseason. Finally, we got signings to talk about, just all kinds of topics.
And while we're talking about kind of crazy stuff, how have we done this 572 times?
Adam, I thought about it this morning. Driving, I was parked at my job, and I put it. I was like, 572 episodes. What are we doing? Also, Kyle, didn't mean to interrupt you. Kyle, you know the joke I'm about to make. Guys, you know the national sign for America being under distress is when the flag is upside down.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with the news since it happened right after.
Let's start with the hat. Why do you have a hat with an upside down Vikings logo?
They're targeting me, dude. They're like 47 brand, Mitchell and Ness, New Era, NFL.com fanatics. They have infiltrated my fucking algorithm, and I've bought like 5 new Vikings hats just this offseason alone. Shout out to my favorite podcast, Two Bears 1K. Found this. I'm not going to ever tell you guys how much I paid for this hat because it's a one-of-a-kind limited edition. I have a hat problem, but this seemed fitting. I was like, oh, that's cool. It's a little different. I like the bandana color thing. And then the day after J.J. McCarthy has his season-ending stuff, this comes in, and I was like, oh, my God, it's a sign. So, yeah. I just wanted to make that joke that God hates our franchise and we're forever doomed to be in misery. That's the update. Have a good show, guys. That's all I needed to say.
Yep, we'll see you next week. Have a good one. No, that's fantastic. Not the JJ McCarthy news. The hat. The hat is fantastic. It's depressing that he got injured.
Well, let's dive into it. I don't think that any of us, and I said this in the chat about an hour ago, it's funny the doomsdayers that come out, because I'm one of them. Like, damn, I was sad to hear it because I wanted to see the possibility to flirt with the potential of maybe it's there. That's the aura and the lure of, oh my God, we got a rookie quarterback. But let's be real. I said it before to you guys in the chat. I've said it on the show. I don't think this is a Super Bowl winning team, regardless. And I said all along, I think Sam Darnold should start until he's absolutely terrible and you have to pull him. So now J.J. McCarthy has to redshirt his rookie year. There's the silver lining to look at it, but I'm not going to lie to y'all, and especially chat, this is feeling real Sam Bradford-y to me, and I'm having PTSD, and I hope that's not an issue because he didn't have these issues before. So maybe it's just a thing. We've seen plenty of guys come back from this. It's not like a full-blown blowout of an ACL like the Teddy injury, but God, I hope this isn't something that's going to be consistent.
I think this meniscus injury came at a time, real bad time, that is making it feel even worse because he actually really looked good in that first preseason game.
Yeah. And we reviewed it.
If he had came out and stunk, I think people would have been a little bit more tolerant of this injury.
Well, yeah, we talked about it with the review. He looks great. He overcame an early interception, and then you see him making reads, throwing to a spot, anticipating throws, moving around a little bit. You saw what was there, and especially when we're going to talk about this Cleveland game, this offense is very friendly to everything that a quarterback could want to do, especially if they're a little bit mobile like he is. So devastating news to find out your quarterback of the future, the future face outside of Justin Jefferson, and we don't get to see him until next season. That sucks.
It's disappointing because it feels like this always happens to the Vikings. Anytime we get something good, something bad's got to be coming right around the corner with it. And this doom and gloom is even spilled over into other stories with like Stephon Gilmore signing. You've got a lot of fans just throwing their arms up in the air going, well, I don't even know why we did that. This team's going to suck anyway. We should have saved the cap space and rolled it over into next year.
All right, I got a question for you guys about that because I don't get it. Now, Stephon Gilmore's contract is worth up to $10 million, according to Adam Schefter, with bonuses and everything. But yet other people are reporting it as being 1 year, $10 million.
Yeah, there's a lot of misinformation / bad takes going on around this right now, Adam. You're 100% correct. As for the rolling cap space over into next year, kind of a thing you can do, but you also have a minimum that you have to spend as a club. So it's not like you just get to keep fun money for next year and just be like, well, we're going to suck and we're not going to spend any of it. That's not really a thing that you can do either. So I'm not sure why there's so much hate for the Vikings trying to get better for this year.
Especially when they've already gotten like a lot of the big transactions done they needed to.
Correct. I also don't think this is a bad football team. I think that they have the potential to win some games. Are we talking about making a deep playoff run? Probably not. But you never know. They could catch fire at the right time. But I think that this is not a season that you're throwing all hope out the window immediately just because J.J. McCarthy got hurt when he was never penciled in to be your starter to begin with. So I just don't get the whole this is a black and white equation. We need to tank. We need the number 1 overall pick. Like that's
Well, here,
not
let's
you don't do
piggyback
that.
and add on to that, Kyle. Here's the thing that makes me mad about the Stephon Gilmore doomsdayers. So you were willing to take the risk for Sam Darnold and then having, I mean, you guys tell me if I'm wrong, chat, Kyle, Adam, cornerback and part of the defensive line probably were the biggest weakness. I feel really good about linebacker, and I feel really good about the safety depth. I don't feel good about the corners. I don't feel good about certain parts of the D line. So you're going to take one of the weaker groups that we have, and you're saying, well, I'd like our rookie to have to be in a shootout every week because it's a passing league and all the teams are just going to throw for 400 yards on these okay but below average corners. I don't want to get better in that area, but I also want the rookie to be out there to have to win shootouts every week. Or you can add a Super Bowl champion, Adam pointed in the chat, defensive player of the year corner who was coached by Bill Belichick and Dan Quinn most recently in Dallas, and put him, he's easily the cornerback number 1. This is just like the Patrick Peterson signing, but Stephon Gilmore is better than Patrick Peterson.
Look,
and if you look at this roster full of young corners, they are definitely going to benefit from having someone like Stephon Gilmore in their huddle, helping them learn and grow and develop.
I agree, Adam. And you look at kind of where they were last year with the corner group and the amount of turnover that they've had with it, it was a position of need that they addressed. Now, I'm going to knock the group a little bit when I say that we don't have Sauce Gardner out there on corner who's like, hey, he's our young rookie that we drafted and he's a shutdown corner and we can build around that. I'm not knocking a Caleb Evans. I like a Caleb Evans. He's not Sauce Gardner. When you don't have that level of like young rookie player out there, the Vikings kind of did the next best thing and they got themselves some veterans that you can count on that they can kind of band-aid solution for this year and maybe a couple years down the line with until they are able to get that kind of younger nucleus of talent out there. I don't hate what the Vikings are doing at corner right now.
I really hope Gilmore takes Mekhi Blackman under his wing. That's what I really, really hope. And I know I've been saying his name all preseason, all training camp, but it was nice to see Dwight McGlothern get a nice highlight in that second preseason game.
Yes.
Yeah. Even if he couldn't finish the pick 6.
Work on your cardio.
We'll get into that game in just a second. I want to say the other part of that too, and we hit on it a little bit, but you can't be upset. Like, let's take last year. Who's the defensive lineman that went to Detroit that I shat on forever that was at New Orleans before? What's his name? He played like 3 games for us last year.
Oh, we just talked about
you're talking about the edge rusher? Marcus Davenport?
Yeah. Davenport. Yep. If you overpay for a guy like that, be pissed off all you want. This is a $10 million. He costs as much as Sam Darnold, and he might be more important than Sam Darnold. How can you be mad? I can't physically, mentally, spiritually understand how you could be upset with this. This is a value rental of 1 year. And guess what happens? If he likes it here and he likes Brian Flores, which he has history with, by the way, he might stay. Even freaking better. I don't understand any of this. It's just people who want to be upset about anything.
A lot of fans view this as Madden NFL football, video game football. It's a black and white binary decision where you're either winning the Super Bowl or you're tanking to get that #1 overall draft pick. And that's not a tangible, real thing that you can do in the NFL. You don't click the sim forward button on your season in real life and expect to have a job next year in the NFL. We joked about it in the chat. But come on, are the Wilfs going to go to Brian Flores, of all people, and say, hey, Brian Flores, we need you to tank on this coming season? No. I mean, come on, guys.
Kyle, too, it's like I said in the chat. Anybody listening to this, any part of the internet that listens to this, you go right up to Justin Jefferson and say, I need you to lose 15 of 17 games. And see if he can't make sure there's no cameras around and tell you to go fuck yourself. You don't tell these guys, well, I need you to do this for me and the team. It's the stupidest, most illogical thing.
It's not
in the
an actual. You don't actually do that. That's not a thing that you do.
Well, one thing that I don't think is getting said at all is that this signing of Stephon Gilmore is going to make our edge rushers better. It's going to give them more time to get the job done. And they invested heavily in edge rushers this year. They went out and they signed 2 free agents that are coming off breakout seasons that could have big years. And they used a first-round draft pick on an edge rusher, and he looks good too. I mean, honestly, I don't think Brian Flores could have asked for much more at this point.
And like I was telling you guys in the chat, if the wheels fall off the wagon and the wagon starts on fire and the season has gone awful for the Vikings, before the trade deadline, if Stephon Gilmore is playing decent football, he looks good. Hey, he looks pretty good out there for the Vikings, but our season's going awful. You can approach him as a veteran player and say, we're going to do what's right by you, and we're going to find a trade partner, and we're going to send you to a team and give you an opportunity to go for another ring. And maybe you only get a 6th-round pick or a 7th-round pick out of him, but you could potentially get something on the back end if things are going that poorly, is what some fans think they are for the Vikings. So what are you really out by signing him? What are you really out?
Well, here's the other part too. We haven't mentioned this yet. Adam mentioned about how he could be a good mentor for guys like Mekhi Blackman and Caleb Evans. But this one premier piece, and I'm not going to say he's like you said, Sauce Gardner, Derek Stingley, Pat Surtain, whoever. He's definitely aged, but he's still very good. He definitely walks into the cornerback room as like the dude here in Minnesota now. But this gives guys like Byron Murphy a chance to do what he's very good at. You can move him to the slot, and guess what? I can put a Caleb Evans on the outside who's a bigger dude, and they can do these things that they are more naturally equipped and better at to do simply by just being there. He's going to command respect, and that's the other part. That if you're a logical Viking fan, Byron Murphy, I love you. I loved your season last year. This is not a shot at you, but I don't want to roll him out as like lockdown cornerback 1. Now, I don't know if that's what he's going to play every game. We all agree he's very good in the slot. I don't know about man all the time.
I don't think that's the best way to use him.
But it's not. If he was that guy that's like, well, who's our cornerback 1? Go put him on DK Metcalf. I don't want to watch that. That fucking sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Having Stephon Gilmore there will solidify. It was that little missing piece where like, okay, I put it in. Now the puzzle piece looks good now.
And look at it from the opposing point of view. Opposing offenses are going to have to respect that Vikings, safe corner and those defense secondary. They're going to have to respect that a lot more now.
I know they've got a lot of veteran talent out there. They've got guys like Shaq Griffin, who just came back to practice today,
always forget about him.
I know I'm excited to see him in Minnesota. And even if these guys are half of what they were in their prime because they're older at this stage in their career, you still are leaning on veteran players that you know are going to be able to run a complicated defense out there that Flores runs. So you have players that, even if I don't think we have a true number one corner, you've got guys that you can rely on to run the defense and run the scheme the way you need it to. And you do have younger talent like a Caleb Evans, that I'm excited to see their future and what they can learn from the veterans and go out there and do for this team.
I agree.
It's not all doom and gloom, guys.
Yeah, thank you. I don't understand, and I don't go 100% on anything. This is 100%. I don't know how you could be upset with the signing. It's the money is fine, and to the other point, so I'm not going to name names because I don't want to be shitty to one of my friends. But how can you say, well, we just roll it into 2025? Like,
I'm tired.
Why do you? We missed the playoffs last year because literal doomsday, as you said, Kyle, happened. Kirk Cousins is lighting it up. The record is like, okay, it's fine. We're clawing our way back in. The team has grit. And as soon as that Achilles snapped, we all said in the chat, season's over, dude.
I would love the contract to be a little smaller, but you know what? It ain't my money.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great point, and I can hear that all day. But I don't understand the people who are like, well, we should roll it into next year. What about the season that's literally right around the corner that they have to go play? Why?
What irks me is I have never heard this loud of a discussion, this loud of an outcry about rolling cap space over into next year until 2 days ago. Like, I don't know where this came from all of a sudden. Just roll it over into next year.
Also, for that, Kyle, and I have to point this out because it does matter. Locations matter. Guys want to go to big market teams now because social media and brands and all that. Some guys will sign other places just for the money. Look at not Derek Carr, Devontae Adams going to Las Vegas. It's a big market.
Not Oakland. I will never not be able to say Oakland.
I know, dude. They're still the San Diego Chargers, too. It's crazy. He wanted to go play with his former quarterback from college, but that's a major downgrade just to chase money somewhere. The point I'm making with this is, if it's not for the money, it's the location. Do you think guys want to come to a team that just finished 5-12? No. Oh, well, they're going to pay me a lot more. Who fucking cares? We got to play the Bears, the Lions, and the Packers, who are all on the upward. It's like, hey, will you guys come help us get out of the dumpster? It's like, yeah, maybe, but you're not going to get the elite guys to come there unless you overpay for them, which, thank God, this general manager has not done yet.
Well, according to Over the Cap right now, Minnesota is still projected to have about $33 million in cap available for the 2025 season.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not too worried about rolling things over.
No.
It's weird.
I don't like to void years on contracts, but I get it.
Yeah, we try to stay. We said that, Adam, you especially have been the echoer of this. We're like, hey, don't do the dead money down the road. Don't kick the can. We saw what the Saints did and a couple other organizations did, especially with like the big name guys.
Speaking of Saints, have you seen like the wild rumors that have been going around? Every team is like, the Vikings should trade for this quarterback now that J.J. McCarthy's out. And I get people got to get their clicks in and all that, but are the Vikings really going to try to make a trade for Derek Carr? No.
I mean, I do think he's objectively better than Sam Darnold, but I don't think he's like.
I think we can debate Darnold and Carr.
No, I think there's a major gap between those two, but it's not. Signing him does what? It's not going to get you to the playoffs. It's not going to get you to the Super Bowl.
And do you really want to give up more draft capital?
We don't have any. We got 3 picks.
Yeah, what are we giving up? Yeah,
that's the craziest part. It's like we can't really. You'd have to trade a player for him, and I'm good with this squad.
Trade for Dak.
Yes,
because
I want the quarterback and the wide receiver to take up $100 million of the cap space.
I haven't seen Dak. I did see some Trey Lance. Oh, the Vikings should trade for Trey Lance.
I don't understand the obsession with Trey Lance. I don't get it.
He's had what, good. 6? He's had what, 6 good games his entire pro and college career.
I'll tell you what happened. He didn't get enough exposure, and Colin Cowherd, as much as I'm gonna poop on him today because he's a blubbering fucking idiot, he had a point about Trey Lance and some of these guys. Now, if you get into quarterbacking young enough in middle school, by the time you get to college, you'll have damn near 1,000 throws. And then you get into college. Let's say you play 3 years. You have another 1,000 throws or close to it, whatever it is. This kid played like however many years of high school. He played, what, a year and a half, 2 years of college, and then he sat because he got hurt. He hasn't played real football. He's not good. And they're just like, hey, go play with the pros and be very good at it. San Francisco washed that out so fast. That doesn't get talked about enough.
Yeah.
Mainly because they hit on Brock Purdy, but that's a whole
Maybe
other
like Daniel Jones or Ben DiNucci or something like that.
Oh, Daniel Jones looks so bad this weekend. I'm so excited.
There was a point that Adam made earlier in the show I wanted to loop back to, and there's never a good time for a player to get injured, but if there was ever kind of a time for JJ McCarthy, if he was going to get injured, right now is sort of an okay time for that to happen, because what is he really missing out on? Okay, so he missed out on a joint practice with the Cleveland Browns. He missed out on the preseason game with Cleveland. And then we have what? I think the Eagles is the final preseason game.
Yeah.
So he was going to get some meaningful reps there. And I do think that those would have been meaningful, important reps. And it does suck for the kid that he doesn't get that opportunity. But then
they're like bubble wrap Darnold for the last one.
Darnold wasn't playing the last one regardless. And then you're going into regular season where Sam Darnold is your penciled in starter. And that means that Sam Darnold is getting the majority of the reps in regular season during practice time because they are preparing to beat whoever the next opponent is on the schedule. Your backup is probably Nick Mullins, so he would be getting your backup reps. So JJ McCarthy really isn't getting many meaningful reps during the preseason. And I believe this kid, he's not going to Johnny Manziel it where, oh my God, I'm hurt, and now I'm going to go to Las Vegas, and I'm going to party. This kid is going to be locked in, and he's going to be around the team and the facility. He is still going to soak up as much information from that quarterback group as he can during the regular season, regardless of what the shape his leg is in because of this injury. So he is still going to be set in a really excellent position moving forward with the team.
I don't know if you guys have been hearing a lot about like JJ McCarthy's locker room and his teammates and stuff, but apparently they are huge fans of him and they feel like he's a great leader and that just having his presence there is big. So as long as he's there in meetings learning, he's got people to carry him and help.
Adam froze up. I have to say too, Diana Rossini had an interview with Kevin O'Connell this past weekend because you could see the Browns players outside and stuff on the field, and it was fun. She said she was asking about JJ, obviously to start, and I guess he came up and rapped something for asked somebody to drop a beat. Kevin O'Connell being the typical mayonnaise white guy that he is, I think it was Tupac or something. But I guess JJ McCarthy did the rookie thing where they make him do goofy shit in front of everybody. And he had somebody drop a beat and he just freestyled or from memory one of the songs. And I'm like, that kid did that? That's kind of cool, you know? I can appreciate stuff like that. You win your friends over when you do goofy stuff like that in a group setting. We used to do it in the military all the time just because we were bored wherever. So I like that story a lot. I appreciated hearing that he's not shy and not like one of those quiet leader examples or whatever. That's pretty cool.
But Ryan Tannehill is still out there.
Oh, don't you dare. Don't you do that, Adam.
That's the other good point, too, is we're talking about Derek Carr, Ryan Tannehill. If you're going to go for broke, you got to sign – if they sign Tom Brady, I'd be fucking pumped. That'd be really cool. But you got to go get somebody who's like, holy shit, we just got really good. Derek Carr doesn't make me rise up in my bed like the Undertaker and be like, oh, my God, we're going to the Super Bowl. That's not happening.
I'm assuming a lot of the doom and gloom from Vikings fans where they really firmly believe that Sam Darnold is just going to shit the bed with the opportunity that he's getting, and that McCarthy, he very well might.
He might.
And that McCarthy was going to be playing sooner rather than later, and the injury means that the whole season is going to be a wash because Darnold stinks and Mullins is Mullins and Josh Dobbs is a 49er. So what do? You call in Ryan Tannehill, and it all goes downhill from there.
So I actually got texts this weekend asking me if Colin Kaepernick was in Minneapolis.
Oh,
And I said, unless he's going to see Metallica, I don't think he's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Colin Kaepernick, huge Metallica fan. This is right, Andrew. You just got to take your lumps, and you got to realize that when you break it down and you just spin that turd a little bit and you look at it from a different angle, it doesn't look as shitty. 31 teams are not going to win the Super Bowl this year. We are one of them. It's fine. Try to find the silver lining. I think this team will be peskily annoying, just pesky all the time, just a thorn in people's side. We'll see what happens. Maybe they get on a hot streak, but I want to make a
Sam
comment.
Darnold complete a behind the back pass?
Oh God, yeah, probably to the other team as he's getting sacked.
Now, you know what? I'm excited for the opportunity that Sam Darnold has with the Vikings this year. If there is ever a chance for this kid to prove that he's got the talent to play in the NFL, it's
Sure.
with the playmakers that are going to be put around him. If Kevin O'Connell can live up to his potential as a play caller too and find a way to maximize this guy, that just means good things for JJ McCarthy's future for the Vikings, because McCarthy has probably more talent than Sam Darnold. And so if they can get Darnold looking any kind of like a pro caliber player, that's a good future for the team to have.
So it's kind of crazy still that, you know, if you talk to fans who are like, well, Sam Darnold's terrible. He hasn't been able to do anything anywhere. If you talk to people close to the league, they're like, well, Sam Darnold is a smart kid and he's been getting better and better and better, and he needs another opportunity. And those two, you know, dissenting comments about Sam Darnold really creates a question of who really is Sam Darnold, because I don't know.
I'll tell you what I really liked watching a lot of Rich Eisen. Tom Pelissero is always on there. I forget the other guy's name. Damn it, I can see his face. Albert Breer. He's always on there. Both of those guys have said, look, I'm not a coach, but I do watch some film and blah, blah, blah. They said, you hear the best things from San Francisco, and he went there for a career renaissance. It's like they were getting blown out by the Ravens in some game. He's like, Sam Darnold came in, and he actually looked like he knew what he was doing. And also, I want to make this one point just to, and I'm not doing this to poo on this guy because they have a great team, and I think he's a good kid, and I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's great. But on the polar opposite spectrum, people are like, Sam Darnold sucks. He was seeing ghosts and this and that. Look at his record. Look at his thing. Let me ask you one question. If you took Brock Purdy off of the 49ers and you put him on the Carolina Panthers, would they be a 10-win team? What about the Jets teams that Sam Darnold was on, coached by Adam Gase?
You stole my fucking point. I was going to ask you, was Sam Darnold drafted by Adam Gase? Yeah. So you talk
the situation that you go into is absolutely let's take the other part. Let's take a shitty quarterback who did really good. Mitch Trubisky went to Chicago and they won the NFC North in 2018. He sucks.
Was Sam Darnold on the Matt Rule coached Carolina team? So you talk about two absolutely awful situations, dumpster fire situations for this kid to go to. So the opportunity to reset for a year with the 49ers and then come to a Vikings team that's a very player-friendly offense, okay, where you're throwing to one of the top receivers in the league in Justin Jefferson. And then you also got Aaron Jones and TJ Hawkinson and Jordan Addison out there at a pretty good offensive line. He might have a Case Keenum year for the Vikings. Now, Sam Darnold is a better player physically than what Case Keenum ever was. If this team catches fire at the right time, they could be fun. They could be a fun team to watch.
I agree. And it's fun that you mentioned the Case Keenum year because everybody's doing that. Well, he'll have a Geno Smith or a Baker Mayfield year. No. Lower your expectation a little bit. The Case Keenum year was fine. He came in and he was operational and reliable. That's it. That's all I need you to do. Just don't throw the ball to the other team and everything's going to be okay.
Hey, I believe that Kevin O'Connell is going to set up an offense that's easy for him to run. Hey, here's your Here's your first read, Justin Jefferson deep. You've got Addison over here. If those guys are covered, drop it off to your safety blanket and TJ Hawkinson across the middle. Those guys can make chunk plays out of nothing. Okay. I'm not saying it's going to be a dink and dunk offense, but I think it's going to be an easy offense to lean into his strengths. Will it work all season? Maybe not, but we could have a fun start to it.
It's so funny. I Googled Matt Rule's contract arbitration, and they were arguing last year. But basically, they paid Matt Rule to go coach Nebraska. So that was the coach that Sam Darnold had. They fired the guy that was his coach. They paid him not to be their coach for the Panthers.
I'm going to change the conversation completely because I got a question for you guys that I don't really get. Okay, so that preseason game against the Browns, the Vikings kicked off the ball several times, and every single time they booted it right into the end zone and gave the opponent the ball at the 30. Do you think that's what we're going to see all season?
I don't know.
We didn't see it last game. I'm guessing that they wanted to make sure not even the accuracy, because it's not a field goal. I'm guessing they had some kind of meaning behind that, because I just don't like that you're going to give the other team that good a field position.
Perhaps
I get that you don't want to give them a chance to run it back, but it's still odd to hand the ball at the 30.
I think maybe they were just testing it to see what happens if we kick it out of the end zone every single time. We're going to give it to them on the 30, and we're going to see what happens. I mean, you got to get. They're a very analytics-driven team. That kind of sounds like something.
Short, I guess.
That kind of sounds like something they would want to try. Just like, let's get the data on it. Let's just see what happens.
Charlotte, there's a fun meme about this out there, and it's basically about politics in the state of America. But it looks like you're riding into the Boogaloo.
Or the U.S. is not a state, you dumb.
I didn't say that.
You said the state of the U.S. It's not a state.
Yeah, like the current state of the Vikings.
You dumb.
I don't. Oh, words are hard. I know you're trolling me, but that makes my OCD autistic brain like twitch on there. I'm like, I know I said the right thing. What happened? It's like. It's that meme, and I think these guys are like, it looks like a Call of Duty thing or whatever. It's like, hey, you remember when I told you it's going to get worse? It's there now. We're getting worse. Could it get worse? Yes, it could absolutely get worse. Let's not ask the universe to bring that in, Charlotte. It could always be worse. This team's not going to be bad. They're going to be fun. I think what we have to remember is to attach yourself to a piece like each game that you want to watch. Like, I look for matchups now and to see like, okay, if they were really playing the Browns week 1, I want to see how Myles Garrett does against Christian Darrisaw. That would be what I would watch the entire game. You know what I mean?
Back in the day, no matter how bad the team was doing, you could watch Jared Allen. I know you'd be entertained by watching Jared Allen go up there.
Oh, yeah.
Adrian Peterson have a good game during a bad season or whatever. So, yeah, you're right.
You just got to find that, because I think when the optimism for McCarthy was there, and obviously that we would go through growing pains because he's a rookie, but you've got to think about where they would have been regardless of who's starting. The quarterback play definitely took a hit this year, and that's fine. We knew that was going to be a thing, but it's not like there was no vision for the team. I think that's what gets lost in all these conversations is it's not like the Vikings are running around with no plan. They have a plan. It's just like if you're doing a big weight loss journey, if you got a lot of weight that you need to lose, you're not going to fix that shit tomorrow. It's going to take time, and that's currently where the Vikings sit. They're like, okay, we're making changes. We're seeing what it could be. Let's consistently keep working and see what we got, what we think we have. And I'm excited for them. And transitioning right to the game, let's talk about it. They're 2-0 in the preseason, which hasn't happened in a while. The depth looks fun. Guys, did Lewis Cine just have the comeback game of like a rookie contract? Holy shit. Where has he been this entire time?
Well, let's be honest. Most of the starters sat for this one, and Lewis Cine was not in any kind of contention to be a starter in Minnesota this season. But I don't believe he was on the bubble for the roster spot.
He played the entire preseason game, which is almost unheard of. No one plays entire preseason games.
Justin said, perfect, trade him now. I'm going to tell y'all this right now. I am slamming the table for Lewis Cine to stay on this team because I do not want to see a Daniel Carlson happen again to a first-round pick, because he will go to another team and be fucking awesome. and then I'll be very angry. I don't care what the compensation is. Let him figure it out because we said this last year, and here we are a year later, and he's still on the team. Harrison Smith is going to finish his career with the Vikings, and it will be this year. I 100% think that's it. Do not get rid of Lewis Cine right before he's going to take somebody's spot at the safety position. Don't do it.
Smith. I have to disagree with you.
Don't do it.
One preseason game is not keeping him on this roster. And I know
I felt he had a good first game too.
He flashed here and there, and sure, that's exciting, but you're talking about a preseason game.
I'm talking about a first-round pick, though.
You're not running
five safeties, so I think it's going to be really tough for Cine.
You're not running an actual defense. It's as vanilla of a game plan. It's as high school of a game plan as you can get, where you say, here's the whole game, just go out there and do something. And I'm glad that he did. I'll give him a game ball for doing it. Trade him. Let someone else have him. Let someone else have him.
No, we'll finally have an argument on here. Harrison Smith is gone after this year, and I will tell you why. The one cornerstone foundational piece of why I'm arguing this. He is a first-round pick. If he was a third or worse, ship him the hell out of here. The redshirt rookie season does not count because of injury. I will never hold that against somebody. Last year, okay. We basically had 1 year to be like, okay, I don't know yet. He's going to Daniel Carlson. And if you get rid of that, that's exactly what's going to happen. And then guess what? Then you fucked yourself three times actually, because he's going to do great on another team. You could have had Kyle Hamilton, and we'll bring that up again. So you lost Cine and Hamilton. And then what happens when Harrison Smith leaves? And it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to start Bynum and Metellus, and that's just going to keep the same level of play. At least you have the option there.
But Metellus ain't going to take on that role, so we're going to get Bynum and Jay Ward? Is that what we're looking at for the future right now?
You got to keep him. He's still
so
under
if the Vikings keep five safeties, we'll probably get Lewis Cine as mostly a special teamer or even an inactive on game day again, and that will get people all riled up. But it's probably what's going to happen.
Thank you, Justin. It's been 2 years. He struggles with the playbook. Last year, we're going for stretches, like Adam said, where he wasn't even inactive.
Well, how do you know he struggles with the playbook?
Because I read it on the interweb.
See, that's the thing. That's where I'm going to argue with Justin. How do you know? If you have guys that are balling out like Cam Bynum and Josh Metellus, obviously Harry's going to start. That's not even a question. How do you know he's struggling? You don't have to have him start unless there's an emergency.
The fact that he's not, the fact that he wasn't even active on game days tells you he had to have been struggling. He had to have been.
Sure, and I know it's a preseason game, but he didn't look like he's struggling.
This is a point that this is a point that I've been making for a long time, and it fits in so perfect right now. Can we at least have a 55-man roster, guys? If we have a 55-man roster, we're not even having this discussion. Lewis Cine is just on the team.
And Kyle, then we can have 7 quarterbacks.
We can have
Lewis Josh Dobbs for 5 years for emergency
have Lewis Cine and Ryan Tannehill.
There you go.
Just saying.
Kyle, all this back and forth, whether we agree or disagree, doesn't matter. Your point right here is what we should be talking about. They need at least 2 more roster spots. And we talk about it all the time. How many kids are ready to go in pads for a college day? And you can't add 2 more.
Because I agree with your core point. Somewhere in there, Lewis Cine is a talented football player. And there was injury, and maybe there's other issues that we don't know about that have kept him from being able to maximize that. And you would love to be able to keep players around that for as long as possible to develop them. And I just think that having more players on your active roster would allow you to keep those guys around.
So we're talking about 5 safeties. Let's go through them. Harrison Smith, Cam Bynum, Josh Metellus. Who are we talking about at the 4th spot? Who am I missing?
have Jay Ward there. But Jay Ward is also a player that can be a cornerback at times, a kind of hybrid player. So I don't know where you'd really count him at.
Yeah,
that's one of the problems in that secondary is that a lot of these guys play so many roles. Like I don't see Josh Metellus playing either the Harrison Smith or Cameron Bynum role if anything happens. I don't see that happening.
Well, we got so heated about and fun with
Lewis Cine
Ceane's
of all
team.
people.
Of all the yeah, that wasn't on my bingo card for this.
But while we're talking about the second preseason game, I want to talk about that defensive line that looked dominant against the Browns.
Yep.
Are the Browns backups that bad, or are the Vikings backups solid?
They have to be, and this is where I laugh at the cap, because you're paying Myles Garrett, and then you're paying Deshaun Watson that stupid contract. You have no money to have depth on that team. You have none. That's like a quarter of your cap right there, if not more. That's wild to me. And I hate
Minnesota
that.
was not. They were blocking everything in the run. Cleveland couldn't do anything.
Who's our guy we've been jokingly calling the bloodline, Adam?
Levi Drake Rodriguez.
Yeah, he's making this team, right?
And Taki also had a big game on the defensive line, and I believe he was one of the highest graded players on the defense. And coming into this game, there hasn't been really any attention about him, so it's nice for him to make an appearance and kind of get his name out there a little bit.
Yeah, I'm coming back down off the high of the Lewis Cine stuff because I got spirited there, but I am loving the stat line here. 11 total tackles, 5 solo, 1 sack, a tackle for loss, a pass defended, and 2 quarterback hits, and an interception. Holy fucking shit! That is the best. That might be one of the best game balls we give out. That doesn't count.
preseason Hall of Famer Lewis Cine.
Oh my god!
Him and what's his nuts?
The linebacker.
Him and Audie Cole. Preseason
him
Hall
and
of
Audie
Fame.
Cole had the best preseason game I've ever seen. Oh, that's so funny.
If you take real quick, if you take just the context of it, just completely out of there and go, what are your favorite couple plays the Vikings have ever had? Back-to-back pick sixes from Audie Cole was about as exciting as you can get in a preseason game. That was fun.
Yes.
Remember Everson Griffin running down the sideline with him?
Oh, yeah.
I remember Kyle Sloter winning at the end of one of those preseason games too, and everybody was at US Bank and they went nuts. They're like, "This is a preseason game."
He's a preseason Hall of Famer. Yeah, were you?
That's wild.
The game was wild.
But yeah, I think we all agree. I don't think we all. If we all want to give the game ball to him, all three of us, that's fine. But I like that Jaron Hall had a fun game. He didn't throw many passes, but he did throw a couple of touchdowns. He had a perfect passer rating, which is wild.
Jaron Hall might have been on the out. Hey, he might have been on the outside looking in on this roster before the JJ McCarthy injury, and now he's on your 53. So you need him to have a good stretch here.
We've entered the Matt Corral era for all you Panthers fans.
We have not.
The Vikings.
He didn't even throw a pass, did he, when he came in?
No, but he got sacked one time, and he had 2 rushing attempts for -3 yards.
Poor guy.
Fuck,
He's
man.
Gonna go AWOL again.
Well, those negative yardages were knees, right?
Yeah, I know, but it's the same thing. No context, right? Just look at that, and you'd be like, "Oh my god, what happened?"
The victory formation.
It's nice that he got a call, though. I remember him from Carolina. I mean, he's a quarterback. That's a sentence.
Kevin, I wrote this down in my notes here. This is a Kevin O'Connell quirk that I'm curious if you guys think is a thing or if I'm reading too much into it or not. I think from him being a former player, he's more he likes to give former quarterbacks an opportunity because maybe he feels like he didn't have as many opportunities as he wanted. So I do like his willingness to, hey, I'm going to give Josh Dobbs an opportunity, or I'm going to give Matt Corral an opportunity. Even if it's a small one, he seems willing to give it to him. And I do like that in him.
But if you've been watching Josh Dobbs this preseason too, he's playing backyard ball at a high level.
I like Josh Dobbs.
Shout out to my boy Dave in Nashville. He's one of my fellow handlers at our job. He's like, Kyle, why did you guys get rid of Josh Dobbs? Because he's a big Tennessee Volunteer fan. And I said, because Nick Mullins outplayed him in practice. And I don't know if you saw that, but he's after about 3 weeks, it's over. It's
It was
You
about
get a
the
3 week
most.
window where it's really fun, and then the interceptions and the sacks come, and then the incompletions start going way up.
It
But
was
he's
about
fun
the
to
most
watch.
fun 2 weeks you could imagine with Josh Dobbs back there.
So do you guys see like Matt Corral finding a spot on the practice squad, or do you think he's just going to be an outright cut?
I don't know. It's a good question. I think it's
don't- I
probably
I'll
too
be honest,
late.
I don't know enough about him to really say much.
He wasn't anything special in Carolina. He was a backup there. I don't
And
think
he
he'll make the practice squad either. He came in preseason.
He came in on such short notice that
Yeah.
I don't know what the expectations are for him. If you think that he's a guy that you could develop, stick him on the practice squad. I mean, no one else is gonna sign him. I mean,
Yeah.
You're going to
why
need
not?
him back on the practice squad, I think, anyway. So why not?
I see you, Justin. I see what you did there. Yeah, I don't really know. I didn't watch enough of the game I had my son, and it was like prime, like dinner time. I was making food. I didn't get to watch
But if
it.
you got
'cause
to tune in early, Kene Wangwu got some opportunities with the ball running, and he looked pretty good.
He looks like a running back, which we haven't. Well, I mean, we haven't seen that from him previously.
Now, what
And
I want to see from him is I wanted to see him catch some balls out of the backfield, but we didn't get to see that in this game. Hopefully, we get to see that in the third one.
My God, that's funny. Yeah, Kenny Wangwu, 7 carries for 45. Miles Gaskin, 9 for 45. Both 5 yards or better average for both those guys. Both had long
And the
runs
Browns
of over
announcers
10
kept
yards.
calling him Gaskins, pluralizing his name for some reason.
Don't you love that?
Does he make the roster?
Miles
He does now,
Gaskin?
yeah.
You think so?
Gaskin?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't have Miles Gaskin making the roster.
CJ Ham still exists, so he'll always take one of those running back
Yeah.
spots, even though he is a fullback. He will take the running back.
And we are not going to see Aaron Jones until week 1 of the regular season. So,
Which
and that is okay with me.
and Ty Chandler, I don't think we're going to really see him either.
Yeah, Ty Chandler, I don't really think we need to see any more of him preseason.
Yeah, we've seen this before, Justin. Running backs do well and poop the bag.
I don't even know if we need. I don't think we need Kenye in the final preseason game as well. I mean, you're relying on him on special teams. You're hoping he can be a guy to get you some chunk plays.
But offensively, I'd still like to see more from him.
Yeah, I get it. I just don't want to see him get hurt. Now
I
I'm
did see Minnesota
superstitious.
throw a bunch of people in there to try to return kicks and punts, and we're at that point of the preseason that we are going to see that third game. We're going to see some people we've never heard of probably trying to return things.
Yeah. Usually that don't go too well.
Hilarious receiving here. 1 reception for 71 yards. Deshaun Jones. Amazing. Tristan Jackson balled out again, 3 for 39 and a touchdown.
He's making this roster.
He is looking consistently good.
Yeah,
Jalen Naylor, Trent Sherfield, Brandon Powell. I think that rounds out the wide receiver room. Tristan Jackson, Jalen Naylor, Trent Sherfield, and Brandon Powell, along with Addison and Jefferson. That's 6 wide receivers.
Wait a minute, you got Justin Jefferson on the 53?
Whoa.
Whoa.
Vikings low-key had some pretty good depth at receiver.
Yeah, I like this receiving core.
Yeah.
They're fast. They're shifty. Shout out to our Keegan Cardell, man. He's an awesome receivers coach.
You look back at some of the positions, some of the players they've had in that position group previously, and you have guys who can play in the NFL on this roster now. And yes, I'm knocking the Devin Aromashadus of the world that have been on this roster that you don't get shit from them all season long. You actually
Troy Williamsons, Laquan Treadwell's, none of them.
Yeah, you actually have guys who can contribute on the roster out there now. And yeah, that's a low bar to clear, but I like it.
Wait a minute. We were talking about him this weekend. We were talking about Treadwell? Was that Laquan Treadwell that they were talking about online? Is he still playing?
I guess he's made a couple plays for a
solid game, yeah.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. I didn't even think he was still in the league. Good for you, dude. Oh, I'm really
this preseason game really wasn't too much to get excited about. It was nice if you wanted to see more from the young kicker. he showed off some leg and was able to put some points on the board. And other than that block in the first game, I mean, Will Reichert's looked on it, which is what you want to see.
Very much so.
Now, we did get to see the punting contest was an interesting one, and I'd written about it before, about how Minnesota was probably going to stick with their regular punter, and Seth Burnham only got one punt in that second preseason game, and I made him one of the losers, and I'm like, right now it looks like Minnesota doesn't have any interest in keeping Seth Burnham around. Guess what? He was cut today.
Hey, he was cut today. You are correct. Good call, Adam.
Yeah, all you really got to do is watch and kind of notice who's getting what plays and opportunities, and who is doing what, and it can really make it obvious as to what some of the coaches are thinking.
You fumbled the bag. All you really have to do is go to the Viking Age and read Adam Carlson's articles, and you'll find out everything you need to know about the current season.
I do have a mock 53 that went up today if you want to take a look. It's interesting.
Nice.
I don't got anything too shocking on there aside from I know there's already been rumblings about it, but I've been hearing from a lot of people that Robert Tonyan isn't going to make this 53.
If you follow the beautiful Sally Spice, she's one of the famous Viking fan women on Twitter. She's like said today, she's like, I'm hearing that Dalton Risser is about to get cut. So I'm going to be interested to watch that because, man, did we pound the table for him last year, and for him not to make it this season.
I had heard some rumblings about that too, about him not being happy with the position change and maybe potentially some injury. A little bit that I don't know. I hate to speculate too much on that front, but I could see him not being happy with switching from left to right guard. So yeah, maybe he does get cut.
Ha! You sneaky dog. I'm looking at Adam's article. He agreed with me. I like it. If you get cut, you get to keep your jerseys. I'm going to text Turtle and ask him that.
Probably not. I'm
assuming you probably keep anyone with your name on it. I doubt the practice jerseys. That's probably going to stay. That's my guess anyway.
I don't like that.
I bet they're cold-hearted. I bet they take fucking everything from you.
Yeah, so the Browns preseason game, I tuned in, but it wasn't something that kept me really interested or really engrossed, because it was a lot of guys that, our second, third, fourth string guys and guys that aren't going to make this team. But still, it's great to see these guys out there playing their hearts out for an opportunity at their passion, their dreams. And to me, that can be absolutely wonderful.
It's really fun. And speaking of my boy Turtle, I think he's been with the team 10 years, nine seasons last year, so he's entering his 10th season. Cleveland was his last stadium he hasn't visited yet for whatever reason. So that was cool. That's pretty cool to say I've been to every NFL stadium. Pretty sick. They make merch with it, field jerseys, etc. Field jersey wallets. How do you know this, Justin? That is amazing. I'm not questioning your validity on there. I just genuinely like, where did you find that? That's awesome. I had to watch it later, no live showing. Yeah, I can't do it. I was too hyped for UFC as well. Like, I watched like 6 hours of fighting on Saturday. And this wasn't a real Vikings game, so I was like, Plus, I don't know about you guys. How are you guys consuming this? Is this locally, or are you paying for an app? Because I'm illegally streaming these games. I'm not
on local TV for me.
Nice.
I played the 5th.
Yeah. I had my son with me, and it was dinner time, and I promised him I would cook. So I'm like, we're not going to sit on my bed in my room to watch a football game. I know you're not going to watch. We're going to, no. Oh, that's cool. Game-worn jersey of Jeremiah Sal's wallet. That's hilarious. That's actually pretty cool. I like it. Well, that blew by very quick. So we talked about J.J. McCarthy. Please, sir, get well. We are all hopeful for your recovery, and don't rush back. Study your rear end off, and everything will be fine. I'm excited that he'll actually get to absorb the NFL and the position this year and not have the pressure of expectation right away. Stephon Gilmore is a Viking. That's pretty fun.
Don't forget about wide receiver Justin Hall.
Oh, that's right, from the Raiders. That's the other news that came out today with the cut of the punter. He was signed.
And
so
wide
we'll see
receiver
what
Ty
he-
James was released as well,
Nice.
who I don't know if I remember seeing him in either preseason game. But you can you can stream all out of market preseason games on NFL Plus.
Andrews. I'm the only one on the planet. That's so funny. Oh, me and Kyle West will get like banned from the internet for what we have to say about NFL Plus.
I use NFL Plus. It's got its positives and it's got its negatives, and I feel like the negatives are pretty apparent, but it does function well for what I need it to when I'm at work, and if I have to miss a game, I can just log on and watch the full replay. I do appreciate that aspect of it.
And don't forget that if you are in market for these Minnesota games, you can watch on the Vikings app.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. I had the Sunday ticket thing with YouTube last year, but I'm not paying for that. I like it. I'm ready for them to do the right thing and offer you a subscription to your favorite team. And when that happens, because it's eventually going to happen, then I'll consider it. But until then, I'm pirating that shit, baby.
I will give the Vikings $15 a game to stream it over the internet.
Whoa, set that bar.
I
really
am too
low.
much
How
of a
about
broke boy
$8.99?
for any of that nonsense.
How about $8.99 a game and see if we can meet in the middle at 10? I don't know about that one.
Free 50, bring it on.
Yeah. Yes, or you can VPN. That's so funny. It's getting to the end of the podcast because my dog came over and he's like, "Okay, you've been talking for an hour. Can you shut up now?"
So, what do you think about the that rumor that Minnesota may have been showcasing Lewis Cine as an attempt to trade him? Do you think there's any real value there?
Yeah, I do. Why? I really do. I think that's where his future is going.
So, what kind of value do you think they can get for him if you think there's value?
I have no idea. What did you say? A fourth?
Fourth or a fifth?
I think a fourth or a fifth is high. I think I hate to say it, I think if you get a seventh out of him, you're pretty happy.
If there's
swap of sevenths?
yeah,
Sure.
do the Rick Spielman thing where we swap seventh. I think because of his first round grade and he's on a rookie deal, I think that significantly increases it. And if he looks like that again, especially this Eagles game, I don't care who it's against. You're right. That might be some trade bait that they would actually bite on. Here's my other thing too. Like going back to my point, not that I'm trying to sway any of you guys, but you have to think about, and this is why it's my thing, why you should keep him at least just one more season. If that's it, that's fine. You've given him 3 years. One of them was an injury year, whatever. We kind of know. But how shitty would it be if you're like, okay, well, I'll get draft picks. And then you go and get a draft pick, and that doesn't work out either. That sucks.
Life.
Yeah, I mean, it's life as a fan of this team for sure. But
we did see Andrew Booth get dealt, and Booth had a solid rookie game for the preseason game for the Cowboys.
Oh, good.
So, I mean,
you heard it.
These players are going to get opportunities somewhere else if they aren't in Minnesota. And when they play well, it might be a little interesting. Having him being under Zimmer is an interesting take. Because Zimmer is one of those guys that if you have a cornerback with a mindset that's strong enough, I think he can work with Zimmer and actually get something out of it.
I wonder if we're going to see a softer Mike Zimmer or hear about it, because he was prickly as a defensive coordinator in Cincinnati, and he was obviously prickly as a head coach. But being that everybody's job is on the line in Dallas because Jerry Jones is a fucking idiot, I don't know. Maybe it'll be a little bit softer, like just 10% less grumpy. I don't know. Maybe.
I kind of feel like not having the pressure of feeling like you have to run the entire organization is going to help Mike Zimmer. His heart is truly in defense, and it's truly in that cornerback position group. And him at this stage in his career, just getting to focus on those two things. And hey, I've got input on what I want to do in the draft and what I want to do, with players in free agency, but ultimately that's not my call. I don't have to stress out over it. You probably are going to get a little bit more relaxed version of Mike Zimmer.
they've got studs at every level on that Dallas defense too. You got Trevon Diggs, who's very good. Micah Parsons might be the
Micah
best
Parsons.
pass rusher
I was going
in
to
the
say Micah
league.
Parsons under
And
a Mike
then
Zimmer defense is going to
you got
be.
Rand. What's the other guy's name? The other defensive end there. He's very good too. I forget his name. Micah's an outside linebacker. Anyways, and then they have Trevon. I forget. There's
Eric
another.
Kendricks.
They do.
Is he?
They do have
he's
Eric
with Dallas.
Kendricks.
That's right.
Yeah. Yep.
That's cool. I don't think Barr is still there.
I think Barr is currently looking for a job.
Yeah, when did he get drafted? 2014. Yeah, that's a long time for a linebacker to be floating around. That's crazy. Yeah. Anyways, I'm rooting for Mike Zimmer. I hate that the Dallas situation is what it is because they're not going to be able to afford everybody there, but they should have at least gotten one of these done a year early. And I don't know how you don't pay CeeDee Lamb because I don't know who they're going to throw to Brandon Cooks maybe. He played. You guys realize that he played in the Super Bowl that the Patriots lost to the Eagles in. He was on the Patriots team, and then he was on the Atlanta team, or what was it the year after? He was on the Rams team that lost to the Patriots the next year. You imagine going to the Super Bowl back-to-back years, which is statistically like impossible for most players,
Right.
And losing both of them. That's going to be your wide receiver one if CeeDee Lamb doesn't get paid. That's going to be a rough year. And they got Zeke Elliott in 2024. Good luck with that one. I feel bad for Mike McCarthy and Mike Zimmer, that's another weird thing. Those two, they used to head coach against each other, and now they're work buddy. That's so weird,
It's
man.
a
The NFL's
small
crazy.
coaching circle in the NFL, man.
It's
It all
wild.
comes around.
Speaking of, let's talk about it before we get off here. Tua was on the Dan Lebatard show, and I got to say, both sides can be right, and in this situation, I think they both are right. But I'm erring with the guy who's on my team, and I'm just going to look at Tua, and I'm going to give him that Kobe Bryant meme that says, "Soft, you're soft." Why Miami paid Tua $50-some million? He is 2 concussions away from selling insurance for the rest of his life. It's beyond me. And why you would dog your coach after he got fired, I don't understand that whatsoever. Really weird. Really, really weird. You could just not bring that up and be like, cool. To me, it reiterates the fact that like this younger generation of players, they really are like super sensitive. I'm not saying Brian Flores isn't an asshole because he came from the Belichick tree. And it would be discouraging. We saw it with Kirk Cousins and Mike Zimmer that when your coach doesn't like you, it sucks and gets in your head. But you have to be mentally tough to play in the NFL. Like, you can't have somebody like patting your ass and telling you, hey, it's going to be okay. Like, it's not okay when you're $53 million a year and you're turning the ball over consistently or you're always.
Smith, I'm sure you've had a boss or a manager that was running things in a way that you didn't really agree with or rubbed you wrong as a person. But when you were asked about it, I'm sure you'd be honest and be like, hey, I didn't like the way he talked to me. I felt like he was talking down to me. And that's kind of the feeling I got from Tua. I felt like Tua took that criticism to heart rather than using it as a motivator. I feel like there's a lack of communication there between the two where the coaching style and the player weren't a good fit.
They're not a good fit, and I'm going to do my counter at the end of your point. I will say this. It's always a positive place when someone is encouraging you and telling you, like, I believe in you, yes. But the caveat we're not including or highlighting enough in that scenario where you said, oh, me and a boss. There's 3 bosses that come to mind that I literally would have fist fought in the military if I could have gotten away with it. Like, take my blouse off, and I'll take my chances outside. But I wasn't getting paid $55 million to do something. That highly changes everything to be like, you have to be good. And I know that sucks because, yes, you need to pay your players. It's a high-contact, injury risk sport. But I look at guys like Tom Brady. Tom Brady got coached by the meanest motherfucker not named Bill Parcells. And he said, you know what? I'm going to be better. And I'm gonna outdo all of this because I am that good. You be a dick to me. That's fine.
But also your job, people blow up if you do something wrong. His job, he throws an interception, big deal.
I mean, you say that, but you throw enough of them, and then you're not. And then the coach is going to get fired because you can't do your job right. It's a like a seesaw of emotions. I totally see both sides, and I'm happy for Tua in the sense of Mike McDaniel seems like a really cool dude, and he seems like a really smart mind. I do think they paid, and this is just me going on a tangent. I don't think you have to pay a quarterback in advance for something he hasn't done yet. I think that's bullshit. What happens if they shit the bed? Then you just gave them money to be terrible? If you give a guy a contract based on a proving, like the Jordan Love thing, okay, it wasn't a full year, but I've had time to sit behind a guy who won MVP back to back. We always draft very well. And then for like 9 games in a row, to include a playoff game, we had no business winning. We just got on a hot streak. All right, I see what's there. I'm going to pay you because I think I see this. You've shown me a little bit.
So do you feel that way about like Burrow and Herbert and those guys?
Burrow went to the Super Bowl. He could just hold his hand out and be like, write me a blank check. The Herbert thing, you can argue that. I'll argue in the thing that my eyes
Trevor
tell me
Lawrence and all those guys.
No, I see. That's the thing too. Like, I wouldn't have paid Trevor Lawrence that money. Hey, dude, finish out your rookie contract. That's all. Like, and that's not a disrespect to these guys. It's not saying I don't believe in you. It's saying, hey, what can you show me? Because if you pay a guy, especially like, that's why I agree they moved on from Cousins. You're injured. I'm not going to say that that's kind of not fair for holding an injury there, but
we've talked about this on the show too. Maybe it's just the teams trying to get out in front of those quarterback salaries getting astronomical.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine, but that's the other part too. Like, I promise I'm not going tit for tat to be a dick. It's just
I know it's a good discussion. I appreciate it.
It's the salary cap's just going to keep going up. So if it goes up, the number's going to go up. I don't care as long as the percentage of the cap is reasonable. I don't care what the number and the APY is. I'm so spirited about you can't. Why would you pay a guy in advance? That's never happened to me at work, where they're like, "Hey, we see your might have potential. Here's a bonus for something you might do." That would never fucking happen.
Would you pay a guy the full amount before he paves your driveway? No.
But I'll tell you some weird stuff I've seen on Twitter that has nothing to do with NFL in this podcast. There's TikTokers or social media people influencers. They're having guys do manual labor at their houses. Are very rich people. And then they're like, hey, we're just wondering, we're finishing up today. I'll be there at 4. Do you have the check ready? And the guy was trashing a guy for asking him when the check was going to be there. I'm like, the job is complete. What the fuck do you mean? When the job's over, you pay him. Like, that would be like me trying to take out, like, I know you can probably do home renovation and like layaway or loans or something like that, but having someone come here and do manual labor and like redo my bathroom and be like, well, I get paid in 2 weeks, I'll pay you then. What? That's not how this works. We could talk about this on another show, but like I have a weird view of that. The other thing too, and this is unpopular because maybe you think I sound contradictory here, but I promise I'm not trying to be. If you're, let's just take the Daniel Jones thing or the Trevor or Tua thing.
The Giants would love for you to take Daniel Jones. Please take him.
Fuck that. You would have to pay me to take Daniel Jones. I still don't believe. I understand the idea and the concept of take as much money as you can every time you can, like the Kirk Cousins thing. Like, nope, I'm taking this or nothing. But really and truthfully, what's really going to change your future outside of $5 to $8 million? If you get to a certain number,
money, guarantee that stuff.
That's what people should be doing. We've said that on the show a bunch. But what's the difference between, like, let's take Brandon Ayuk for example. He got offered $30+ million to go play in New England, and he said no. If you're going to get paid $25 from San Francisco and $32 for New England, is that gap really just about the location? Because either way, that's life-changing money. That's where I never understood the semantics of, well, I got to be $1 million more than this guy. Or you could take $7 million less and be very competitive on this team and maybe have a chance to win a Super Bowl. Like, either way, you're going to be rich as fuck. Like, this is poor people talking. We're all
$5,000 would change my life.
See, same here. I would love $5,000, but I never understood that there. And if you guys in the chat are watching, tell me what I'm missing here. But you're at an elite status of, especially the quarterbacks, who are like, no, I've got FU money. I can buy 7 houses and flip all of them, and I can start businesses. And my 5 generations from now, my kids will feel this money. But they get caught up on these numbers of like, well, I got to be the highest paid. I got to be the highest paid. It's like, well, how about you be the 10th highest paid, still make a shitload of money? Look at Patrick Mahomes. Now, I know he's the outlier because he's the next Tom Brady or whatever, but he's not even in the top 10 highest paid quarterbacks.
And do you remember when he got his contract and people were talking about how insane it was?
They gave him a 10-year deal. What was it, like $500 million? And then by the third year of that, they're like, damn, Kansas City got a steal with this guy.
Right?
Go back and look at some of the early contracts that guys like Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers got in Green Bay and look at the total that they were making. And it's almost what quarterbacks are getting in a season.
1
now.
year. Yep.
It's insane to look at where the market has gone for NFL players.
I think if you're smart and you manage your wealth the right way, this is just me. It doesn't have to, these guys don't have to think like me. They don't. Who am I? But if you manage your wealth properly and you take that into consideration of, I just want to be in the neighborhood of my peers. I don't, this groundbreaking thing of like CeeDee Lamb, for example. These guys just come to mind. If he's holding out trying to get Justin Jefferson money, I wouldn't pay him that. I'd be like, you're not better than Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, we got him. We got Jamar Chase. We got a lot of guys that are trying to get paid.
Jamar Chase needs to get paid. Yes.
Or he could be in that discussion.
Or, hey, he could take less money and come to Minnesota.
No thanks, because then there's going to be a fucking wide receiver controversy. Oh, that would be so good.
No way, dude.
With those receivers in Minnesota, let's finish off the show by talking about Jordan Addison. Do you think we'll get some news about Jordan Addison getting some kind of suspension or?
Yeah, something's got to be coming down the line here real soon on that, right?
There's got to be something, I assume. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's got to be something.
Does the NFL announce it when there's no news? Like if they're not going to punish him?
I heard that it may roll into next year because it'll be actively during the season. That's been a thing that's been in Twitter replies a bunch, and I don't know how because it's already been found. Like, hey, cool, and he's got a court date.
So they can roll over his suspension with the $10 million from Stephon Gilmore's contract into next year.
Hey, we'll trade you Stephon Gilmore if we can keep Addison for 3 games. How's that sound?
Remember when my favorite kind of like FU to the league was Kevin and Pat Williams when they had that what was it, that Star Caps or something that they were taking?
Oh yeah.
And they kept drawing it out and out and out until they finally just retired.
Yep.
That was the best.
I completely forgot about that.
Oh, yeah.
Until you mentioned it. Wow.
Yep.
But yeah, that's all I got. You guys got anything else you want to talk about?
I apologize to the chat and everybody listening. I'm sorry I went on a rant there.
It's a fun show. I like it.
Man. We had a lot of say, and we called it. Kyle, you called it last week. Hey, after this game, because we heard Stephon Gilmore that Friday was going to come in Monday for a visit. We're like, well, after the show, we'll get news. Well, yeah, we got news, and it was heartbreaking and a kick in the nuts, but ultimately he did sign, which is kind of fun. But the Vikings go to Philadelphia for the last preseason game. I don't have the date of that in front of me, but we'll cover it, obviously.
That'll be Saturday.
And we'll talk about it maybe Monday or Tuesday next week.
I will not be able to watch that game, so it'll probably be you guys talking about it. I have to go to Minnesota for my cousin's funeral.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Very sorry to hear that. I'm probably not going to watch this either.
It's all you.
I'll watch it.
He said fine. I have my son again this weekend, and it's going to be the same thing.
I'm going to put it on the radio in the car on the way home. That's the plan anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's during dinner time, that ain't happening. We care about burgers more than we care about preseason football.
But you can check out my work over on the Viking Age. You can check me out on social media at MNVikingZombie. I've been putting way too many little TikTok games on TikTok, so come play some games with me on there. That could be fun.
Yeah, and if you follow Adam Carlson on YouTube, he and I do some horror movie reviews. We need to get back on that and do another one. Maybe we can find one here.
I've been watching quite a few and posting them on my Facebook as well as my Twitter. So if you guys are on there, you can talk to me about those horror movies I've been watching. I just watched The Mousetrap, which was odd. Have you guys heard about that one?
The horror movie?
Yeah.
I have not.
It's that Mickey Mouse killer movie.
Oh, yeah.
It is really bad.
I believe you. I didn't need any convincing, but I can hear it in your voice.
It's currently available for rent for $2.99.
That's a hard pass. Oh, that's funny. Oh, thank you guys in the chat, by the way.
Wes never wants to promote his own stuff.
No, I hate talking about my own stuff. I really do. You can check my workout over on Vaguely Square over on Blue Sky. I post stuff sometimes. You should check it out. Smith, you can promote my website.
I always try to, man. Amazing photography. KyleWest84.picfair.com. Yeah, you can see his photography work. I get excited about the fall. I'm getting older because I'm a summertime guy and I do love hot weather. But man, I'm getting to that point where I want a hoodie now and I'm ready for it to be kind of cool. But I
If
know
you're a
for
gamer,
football,
you can probably talk to West about the Resident Evil games he's playing.
Oh yeah,
that's cool.
Resident Evil 2 remake.
Nice. Yeah, for your pictures and stuff though. I know the fall is coming, and you, like I always say, you live in a really cool area and part of the country, and you just have a very photogenic town and just a canvas waiting for you to shoot it. So go check out his photography over there.
Always appreciate it.
Of course, man. I'm at NC Dog Dude. My microphone and my interface came this weekend. I'm officially starting the recording process here within the next 5 to 6 days. So wish me luck on that. I'm sure I will develop Tourette's because it's going to piss me off. So we'll see how that goes. But follow me on the old X machine or Instagram. I will not answer your TikTok message because it's like heroin for me. It's bad for me, and I stay the fuck off that app because every time I get on that app, I look down for 3 seconds, and when I look up, an hour has passed. So
now, if you guys love really stupid comedies that have like a little bit of action in them, over on Amazon Prime right now, there's a new movie with John Cena called Jackpot. That's pretty funny.
ooh, that sounds good.
It's a movie about in California where if you win the mega lottery and someone kills you within 24 hours, they can steal your jackpot. So it's kind of fun that way.
I like that premise. That should be a horror movie.
That's very stupid, but it's very fun.
Oh, it's dumb. It is
I love that.
Really dumb movie, but it's dumb in a fun way. And I am a sucker for good comedies, and there has not been many good comedies lately. And I got some laughs out of this one. I think John Cena is a funny guy.
He's underrated as far as his delivery. I like him a lot.
But we'll be back next week, and we'll talk less about John Cena and more about the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Philadelphia Eagles in the final preseason game on Saturday. And in the meantime, stay classy, Minnesota.